Vancouver when I was 19 and moved from Victoria. And the first thing I did was join the Musicians Union. And the first job I got was in the pit orchestra, my first experience of a pit orchestra. And I forgot the name of the show. It was from one of the shows that was being shipped on the road. Great success from New York. There I was, the only woman in the orchestra, the only girl in the orchestra, and they were very, very nice to me. All the guys were very nice to me. They knew it was just my beginning. They noticed that I was saying the word schmuck a lot. And they said, where is that? And I said, well, you guys use it all the time. They said, well, don't you know what it means? I said, no. And they said it meant penis. So there I had been using it as a complaining word for a week or so and didn't know what it meant. Anyway, that was quite an experience. And I remember another time when I was sitting in the pit at the O'Keefe Center and close to the wall at the front, quite near the conductor. And I suddenly noticed that there was a guy in the front row, and he was either dead or really, he looked awful. And so I couldn't get out and walk out through all those people. So I sent the word back, and and whoever was at the back, right at the back, went and got somebody from the backstage people, and they went and this guy had a heart attack. We didn't think it was very complimentary to us. I don't remember the show or anything, but anyway, they must have been near the intermission because they took him away, carried him out. The Europeans who were there were very surprised to see a woman, because in Europe they didn't have women in orchestras. They didn't allow them. And as a matter of fact, when I came to Toronto years later, quite a few years later, there were not very many. It was unusual to see women in the Toronto Symphony, and it was starting right then to have. They were surprised that now, of course, there are a lot of women in the orchestra. I bet you there were more women than men, but it was the same in Europe. They didn't allow women in the orchestras. During the war, the father of one of the students in the high school decided he was going to form a concert party to go around to entertain naval camps. And so we went all over southern BC for a long time during the war. Played a solo every night, and I sang blues every night. And then I sang in this. We had a boys' chorus that was fabulous, and they sang, and sometimes I sang with them. We had great fun. One ship we went on, and the piano was downstairs, and the area that was big enough for us to perform in was upstairs. So the pianist had to stay downstairs and do the accompaniment, and with the sound piped up to us upstairs. It was actually amazing, but it came out. It was beautiful. I don't remember there were any of them where the piano was where the performers were. The stage was still either downstairs or upstairs, and the piano was in the opposite place. It was really hard for her, one of the girls who was with us, who played the piano, but they loved it.
And that's the Haida? That's the one at Ontario Place?
Yeah, that's the one. I was in grade 12, 11 and 12. A singer and I had a half-hour show, and I always had to play something, I don't know, a pop song of the day or something like that, but my own arrangement and with the piano accompaniment. I was concertmaster of the symphony. I was in high school, of course, and I was engaged. I don't know how I survived, but anyway, it was being busy.
What about when you were the first one to wear pants in the orchestra?
I don't remember that. I was also the first one to get my ears pierced, and I was the first one to wear jeans. We weren't allowed to wear them in the show, but for rehearsing and everything, you were allowed. And it was amazing to us to see so many people coming to the shows at night at O'Keefe Center in jeans. dressed nicely, you know, neatly and smart, but they were still jeans. As a matter of fact, you know, they weren't only jeans, they were long pants. To see people wearing pants, long pants instead of just skirts, was quite something. God, that was a long time ago. That reminds me of when Richard Burton, he came in some play, I don't know what it was. Oh, of course I know what it was. It was the show that opened, Cavala opened in 1960, that opened at O'Keefe Center. And what's the singer's name again?
Julie Andrews?
She's absolutely crazy about him. She almost just stood and watched him all the time. The two of them were on stage. It was really embarrassing. She was absolutely crazy about him.
What about working with Petula Clark?
Oh, she was lovely. I was talking to her backstage quite a bit, and it turned out that she just had a baby. She had a baby the same age as Jolie. And so we've spent a lot of time talking about our kids. Yeah, she was a lovely person. She gave us a party backstage, and that's when I got a chance to talk to her.
What about in Montreal when you went with Harry Belafonte?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that, he was just a pain in the ass. Well, he was.
Why?
I don't know, he was so conceited. He was just so, God, I mean, if you were supposed to stand up and bow if he came by, it was Tony Bennett, oh, he was a lovely guy. He threw a party for us backstage at the end of the show. And I got a chance to talk to him. Several of us got a chance to just corner him. We sat, 3 or 4 of us, just talking to him. And he was a terrific guy. He loved the orchestra. He said, you know, his idol was Sinatra. He said, you know, Sinatra it agrees with me. We are 2 of the performers who realized that we wouldn't have our careers if it wasn't for the orchestra. We realized how much we owe the orchestras that play for us. So that was very nice to hear. Well, years and years and years later, I was responsible for an orchestra that was being taken on the train to, I think it was Ottawa, might have been Montreal, I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, for the Bolshoi Ballet was here. And we played for them here, and we went there to Ottawa. I think it was Ottawa, and played for them there. So we were on the train, and before we realized what was happening, these 2 men were slowly walking through, looking at everybody closely, and going right through, and we realized it was the, what do you call them? Well, the police that traveled with the ballet company.
KGB?
Yeah, maybe it was that. I don't know, but anyway.
So they were the Russian police. They were
oh
the
yeah,
Russian
yeah,
bodyguards.
yeah. And so they did that a couple of. They left, but out the door on that car, and then he came back, and they did that a couple of times, and we were very annoyed that they would come in our space without asking or anything and looking at it as if we were doing something wrong, and they had to watch us. And so I went up to the first guy and I stopped him and I said, "Excuse me, but this is all a Canadian train here. There are no Russians here." And I said, "This is our property and we don't want you coming through again." And so they didn't say a word. They just turned around and left. They never came back. But that was really scary to see those guys come in and walk. Matter, I think there were more than 2, and walk very slowly through and look at everybody, make sure that everything was all right. But this was all Canadians, and then they had nothing to do with them, and we thought it was just bloody ridiculous that they were allowed to do that. They didn't do it again. Everybody now is gone except me. Who's that?
You.